Hello, 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 hello. It's another session of our lesson. But before we go into the my boy, my girl, take off the stress. Enjoy yourself.
You kill me when you call me. My heart desire. You are the only one I require. I require forever. You know say I no go fit take another. Make them talk. I no go bother. If it no be you, then my paper. Oh yeah, my paper. Oh yeah, frankly paper. Inshallah. Let them alone, cause them in my love. While they say, don't be yaro.
Measuring tools becoming complete. So today, I want us to complete that
oh baby, oh mommy, it's my Tommy. Still by me, lean on me. Only gonna make it cross this river. My brain bigger, my brain be bola. I go protect you like soldier. Gaga, manabada. When him say me and now we are dada.
Yes, that is enough. Let's begin the lesson itself. Yes, as I said earlier on, last time we looked at these tools. Today we are continuing with the same thing. We want to complete it and then look at other things. Yeah, we look at measuring tools, and we look at the vernier caliper. Sorry, I think there was a spelling mistake in the vernier caliper. Kindly go back and correct that for me. Vernier should be V-E-R-N-I-E-R. Vernier caliper. Instead of veneer, the two of them have different meanings. Okay, so it is vernier caliper. V-E-R-N-I-E-R. Then we also look at the various types of measuring tape. We look at the various types of measuring pan and box. We also look at the ruler, the folding ruler. And today, I want us to look at calipers. So what do you say, what are calipers? They are also measuring tools. The calipers look like compass that have special design with their legs. We have the inside caliper with the leg turned out. It is used for measuring diameters of holes or slots. Then we have the outside caliper. So the one that has the leg turned outside is used to measure, is the inside caliper, used for measuring the inside diameter, meaning diameters of holes. If you have a pipe that carry water to your house and you want to, or your home, and you want to know the diameter of the pipe, the internal diameter, you use the inside caliper, which has the leg turned outside. So it's like a compass or a divider with the tips of the leg turned outside. Okay, what makes them different from compass and dividers is that they have adjustable nuts and screws. And then we have the outside caliper for measuring external diameters. They are used for measuring the thickness of objects. So if the object is a solid object, for example, you have a piece of metal, you want to know how thick the metal is, you use the outside caliper. So the two of them help to know or take measurement of pipes, measurement of rods, measurement of tubes. Okay. Then we have the vernier caliper I mentioned earlier, which perform the same function of the two calipers. However, usually the vernier caliper measures accurately because its legs are smaller and it has different graduations that help in taking the exact dimension of the object. So the top part of the vernier caliper is used for measuring internal diameters, whereas the down part is used for measuring external diameters. So the vernier caliper helps in measuring better than or accurately than the outside and the inside caliper. So what the inside and outside caliper can do, this vernier caliper here can perform the two functions. So that's bring the curtain down to our discussion on measuring tools. Now let's go to the next aspect, or a different set of tools, that is setting out and marking out tools. Setting out and marking out tools. These two terms are related, so they are always together. Setting out and marking out tools. When we say setting out, what do we exactly mean? Setting out is the process of transferring dimension or measurement or shapes of objects. For example, you want to build a house. You have designed the house on a paper. So transferring the dimensions of the building you have drawn on paper, or the forms and the shape of the building you have put on paper, onto the ground. The ground must be prepared. So that's why we say prepare site. That is the process of setting out. Then what are some of the tools that can help you do that job? We have what we call line and pins. We have the builder square, we have the lime powder, we have profile board, and we have the chalk. These tools we are going to take one after the other and discuss into details. Let's look at the second term, which is the marking out, and see what it means. What does marking out mean? Whereas we transfer dimension onto prepare site for setting out, marking out involves transferring the dimension, shapes, and forms of design onto work pieces. So this is done in metalwork and woodwork. So the carpenter or the cabinet worker, that's what we call marking out. The mason will do setting out, and then the metalwork will also do marking out. What are some of the tools that will help us mark out shapes? We have the scriber, marking knife, marking gauge, tri-square, sliding bevel, dot punch, center punch, mortise gauge, winch compass, pencil, and odd leg calipers. Let's pick them one after the other. We are starting with the marking out tools. The marking out tool, the first one we are looking at is the scriber. The scriber is a tool that works like pencil. Whereas pencil will erase easily when we use it to draw marks on metal, the scriber helps us to inscribe marks which will be difficult to erase. Make mark, just like a blade cutting your skin. That is how the scriber will cut the surface of the metal. So that will not be easy to erase. So we use the scriber to mark lines on the surface of metal work pieces that we intend cutting. So if you want to cut a part of a piece of metal, in order to cut accurately through that measurement, or to cut that exact measurement you want to mark, you need the scriber to mark the line before you cut using the appropriate tool. The scriber cannot be used alone. There must be something to guide it, and the instrument there is known as the square, the tri-square. We'll look at that in the next slide. The process of using the scriber is known as scribing. So if you are using the scriber to mark lines on metal, we say you are scribing. You are scribing. Now let's look at the marking knife. Whereas we use the scriber in metal work to mark lines, we also use marking knife to mark lines in woodwork. So the two of them do similar job. But marking knife is used in woodwork, while scriber is used in metalwork. That is one example of the marking knife. The mouth has been designed, or the blade has been designed with pointed edge. And it is very pointed and sharp, the extent of cutting or hurting you. It looks like similar to the normal knife, but you can see that this one too, there are variations of different designs. So that is the marking knife being demonstrated in the diagram you see. It is being used in conjunction with the tri-square. So let's look at what the tri-square also does. The tri-square is made up of two main parts, the stock and the blade. as you can see on the far right here, the stock and the blade. The blade is made of wood, metal, whilst the stock is made up of wood, held in position with screws. So the screws you see on top run through the wood and the metal blade. The two of them fix to form a right angle. And every right angle is said to be square. That is why we call it the tri-square. What do we use it for? It guides the marking knife and the scriber to mark lines on metal and wood respectively. Then, apart from that, we also use the tri-square to test the squareness and the flatness of prepared workpiece. In woodwork, if you plane the surface of a piece of wood and you want to test how flat it is the tri-square that helps you do that. When you also plane two faces of a workpiece, where they meet is an edge. To know whether that edge is the two of them are meeting at right angle, you use the tri-square. The next one is the odd leg caliper. Odd leg caliper. The odd leg caliper also looks like the compass. However, one of each leg has been designed a special way. So we have the scribing points. One of the points has the point of the compass, and then one second side has a depression which helps it to hook to one edge of the workpiece, and it's able to scribe a line on the surface of the workpiece. The wing compass is basically or commonly used in metalwork to scribe lines parallel to the edge of the metal workpiece. The partner or the counterpart of the odd leg caliper is what we call the marking gauge, which is also used in woodwork to do similar or to perform similar function. So it's mainly used to scribe lines parallel to the edge of the metal workpiece. Let's look at the partner, which is the marking gauge. The marking gauge is used in woodwork to mark lines parallel to the edge of the workpiece. However, it has many parts or more parts than the odd leg caliper. So as you can see, we have what we call the stem, that is the rod passing through what we call the stock. And attached to the stock is that flat yellow thing you see there. We call it the thumb screw. And we have two yellow strips fixed in front. That is brass strips. They all have special role to play. The spare, the pin on the stem is a spare which marks the line parallel to the edge as being demonstrated in the middle here. Then the thumb screw is used to secure the stock firmly on the stem so that when you are using it, the frame does not move or slide through the stock. We also have the stock which help to guide the movement of the spare. So you slide the stock against the side of the object, whereas the spare touches the surface and mark the line parallel to that edge. Now, to prevent the surface of the stock from wearing, there is a force we call frictional force inside. That is the force that causes the sole of our shoes to wear. The same force exists between two surfaces in contact. So when the stock is in contact with the surface of the workpiece, friction will cause the surface of the stock to wear. To prevent that, we fix two brass strips. The brass strips prevent the surface of the stock from wearing. Thank you very much.